Hey guys, my name is Sal Shakir, and my story is a little different than most. I am an immigrant from the Middle East, and if you know anything about the Middle East, you can only begin to imagine the struggles we went through. After immigrating to the United States, and plenty of personal and financial hardships later, I finally reached my version of the American dream. The vehicle that helped me reach my financial freedom was real estate. Now, I run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, and I like to help others. That's why I'm here. If I can do it, so can you. Believe me. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll show you how.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, the 14-day challenge, scaling your real estate operation, aka hustler to CEO. In this one, we're gonna be talking about company structure, how to build a well-oiled machine from a 360 bird's eye view. Let's get started. In the previous video, we talked about core values and why they're important in your operations. Obviously, it's not just important to hiring people, but it's important to keeping your team members in place and obviously lasting for the longevity because they're lining up with your vision. That is obviously the most important factor. How to choose it? It's actually really simple. You don't have to choose the perfect ones from the get-go. You can always tweak it and change it as your company evolves, but try to pick 4 to 5 to 6 different core values that represent who you are as a person and as a business person as well. It could be based on what you believe in. Customer comes first, or the way that you'd like to conduct your business. I'll give you some examples in a minute. And obviously we talked about why it's helpful for hiring individuals because they align with that. If someone aligns with that company or with your core values, that means they're prone to staying longer with you and being that rock star that you need. And obviously it drives the company and the team toward the winning. You want them to be winning all the time, and obviously if there is harmony amongst you and your team members and amongst the team members themselves, there is better culture, therefore there is better work environment. So I'm gonna give you some examples here. For our organization, we actually have this one, work ethics. We always talked about this. Work ethic, you can't really teach work ethics. You can teach a skill set, you can teach other things, but work ethic is either you have it or you don't. So that one is actually a really big one for us. So something like commitment, teamwork, customers first. This is the stuff that you need to look for to actually create your core values. Obviously, you don't have to copy these. You can come up with your own. And like I said, don't worry about if you made a mistake. You can make a mistake, you can tweak it later, but get some started today. Ultimately, there is 4 main components or 4 main departments that your company should look like. First one is company, second one is marketing, third one is acquisition, fourth one is disposition. Obviously, we've talked about admin and whatnot, but this one is more streamlined or easier to read. So let's go for the first one. Company. What does a company mean is obviously the processes and the systems in place. The hiring process, the training and development of your team members, the delegation and growth. We've talked about if you need to elevate, you must delegate. And payroll department, market research. So if you're doing very well in your organization, it's time to go to a new market. Well, you want to make sure that there is a market research. That can happen at a company level. Tracking KPIs. Well, we've talked about how important KPIs are, especially when you're growing your team, especially when you're doing marketing, disposition, and really every component or every part of your organization. It tells you really where you're at with your company. Team building, company budgets and company goals and employees incentives. This one is really big, incentives, especially in sales positions. Incentives are really, really big for salespeople. Ultimately, the goal is scaling your company. Second one, it's marketing. And what's marketing? It's the data, the list that you pull, the cold calling, driving for dollars, direct mail, PPC, SEO, search engine optimization, SMS, ringless voicemail, voice broadcast. All that is different marketing channels. Obviously, I haven't mentioned all of them, but you get the picture. The goal of that is generating leads. In order to get deals, you need to generate leads. Now we move on to the third one. Acquisitions. Well, running the comps. That's an important factor. Talking to sellers, making offers, negotiation. That one is the sales skills. You need to make sure that their sales skills are up there. Manage sales teams. That one is actually another position we have in our organization. It's called the sales director. That person is in charge of the sales or the acquisition managers in our organization, where his job or her job would be making sure that all the questions are answered for the acquisition manager. They're directed. They ask him day to day, what's going on with this deal? What's going on with that seller? Where are we at here? Where are we at there? So that's the sales director's job. Continued training and spiffs. Spiffs is like the incentives that we talked about here in company, where, an example, in the car business, spiffs is a really big thing. They say, if you sell this car, I'll give you X amount of money. In the real estate, it could be like, if you got a contract today, whoever the salesperson that gets a contract today gets a $500 spiff money, or $200, $300, whatever that may be. And that creates a really cool synergy or competition between the acquisitions team. Obviously, the goal of this would be get more deals under contract. Last but not least is the disposition department. So building the buyers list, building relationships with the buyers, because you're as good as your buyers, of course. Marketing the deals, negotiating the selling price, and title companies. We haven't talked too much about title companies, but title companies really are like your partner in a sense, because deals would fall apart without the title agency or without the escrow officer in the title agency. So we treat them like they're a part of our business. They're like our partners. And the goal, obviously, from that department is sell deals for profit, maximizing the profit, of course. All right, now that you saw the company structure, now I want to show you individual structure. This is actually our company structure right now. As you see from the top, me and my business partner are the CEOs. And then on the left side, you'll see our sales director, Adrian, and the sales, aka the acquisition, right under him. So they report to the sales director, and the sales director reports to the CEOs if needed anything. So that creates the chain of command. You'll see Sierra as a quality control. Jonathan is our realtor. Actually, he helps us list all the deals to sell if we fix them and flip them. Brittany is our CFO. Tegan is our operations manager, and Sierra is our event manager. Then you have Dora. Dora is our COO, and we have a transaction coordinator and a billing manager. And then on the very far right, you'll see Jaden. Jaden is actually our disposition manager, the director of dispositions, and he's an asset director. What does that mean? He handles all our flips, he handles all our buy and holds and tenants, and obviously he coordinates that with the proper department if it has to do with billing or transaction as well. And Jonathan is the disposition manager that's directly under Jaden. So if you look at it from a 360 view, you'll see that every department has someone who's in charge of that, and their respective individuals report to them. All right, now that we talked about the company structure, individual structure, and now we're gonna talk about the pay structure for your team members. There is no wrong or right way about doing this. This is what we do now, and we've done multiple different ones. So for an acquisition manager, we should actually just do commission only. And that's okay, you can do commission only. But for us, we are past that phase where we can pay a base salary plus commissions. We've actually done where commissions only and we give a draw. And that business model was more like, or the pay structure was like, if they pull from that draw, let's say the draw's limit is $2,000 or $3,000. If they get a deal next month, it gets deducted from that paycheck or from that percentages. So it's almost like giving an advance, and you get it back once they produce revenue. For us now, we do $2,000 and $2,500, and the reason why you see there's $500 because we actually have those incentives of $500 if they hit their goals. Example of the goals is if they reach their daily limits of calls, if they reach the amount of offers, they reach the amount of interested people, contracts out. All that mounts into that extra $500. And really, it's a really good way of incentivizing them to hit the numbers. And we know if they hit those numbers, that means they're gonna bring more revenue. So it's a cool way to incentivize them that way. Another thing is 6 to 8%. You can have a set amount of percent, but for us, we bumped that up to a 9% recently, and based on the revenue they generate. For the quarter, if they hit a certain amount and they exceed that amount, they jump to the next percentages, and so on and so on. So there is a few goals that they hit. For you, it could be like for the first quarter, if it's $250,000, and if they hit $350,000, then they jump to the next point. And if they jump to $450,000, then they jump to the next point per quarter. And ultimately, you're really not losing money because it's generating you so much more money. And that's another form of incentivization to your team members. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this video as much as I am making it and the content that it contains. If you're just starting out, that is okay. I have a free book that you can download and it'll give you the tools, the contract, the resources that you need to getting your first deal. And if you're not new in the business, you can always join my academy that has all kind of videos and accountability and courses that helps you to scale your operation. All right, guys, let's get back to the video. Next one is junior acquisition. Junior acquisition is a role that can be in the office or it could be as a virtual assistant. Most of the time, virtual assistant, you don't really have to do this kind of structure, but let's say you have an office junior acquisition role. That would be if an acquisition, we understand that an acquisition manager's job is focused on closing deals. And let's say you're getting leads every day. You're getting 10, 20 leads a day, and you have one acquisition manager or two acquisition managers. Well, throughout time, you're gonna build a big list of sellers. Well, some of those sellers will fall through the cracks because they're busy with new leads. And the junior acquisition manager's job is to warm up those leads and alley-oop them back to the acquisition manager so they can focus on closing that. So we give them a $2,000 base, or we used to do that, a $2,000 base, $100 per closed deals, or we used to actually split the fees between the acquisition manager and the junior acquisition, where it's more the bigger portions to the acquisition, less portion to the junior acquisition. That was actually my favorite because it created that kind of competition where it made the acquisition manager realize that they have to really pamper every lead, not let these leads fall through the cracks, because once that person brings that lead back to live, they have to split those fees. Then they feel like, okay, well, now there is leads that I really need to pay more attention to. And dispositions. Disposition is based on a commission and a salary. Actually, we didn't put it here, but the salary is $2,000 to $2,500 as well. And the commission is 2 to 4%. The percentage is based on the gross profit. That goes the same thing for acquisition. It's not the gross revenue, it's the gross profit. An example, if you sold a $250,000 deal, you don't pay based on the $250,000. You pay based on the profit. So let's say if you sold a $250,000 deal and the profit was $25,000, that's the commission that they get paid on. All right, and you can always add more tiers as well if they have the extra. You can give bonuses for the extra profit they generated. So let's say the average deal size was $25,000 and they were able to increase that by another $3,000. You can give some kind of bonuses or spiffs for that. Now for the transaction coordinator, it's a $2,000 base plus $100 per transaction. Very easy there. And for some deals that die, so it's normal. So if you got 10 deals, it's normal to have 2 deals that fall apart. 20% fall through ratio. Could be 30%. Depends what market you're in, but that's normal. Could be because title issues, seller backing out. There's a new seller where on the HUD that they don't want to sell and you just found out about it. There's a lot of scenarios that could happen. And we still pay them $50 because they still put some work toward that transaction. So we're not really penalizing them for it, but they're striving toward really closing the deal and obviously getting the full commission on that. And obviously this is our pay structure. You can choose yours depending on your state, whatever the minimum wage. In California, probably that minimum wage is not worth it, but in other states like Michigan or other states, the minimum wage might be lower than that, so you can adjust that toward your market. So this is more of an example of what you should be paying versus really embodying this payment method or that pay structure and utilizing it. All right, guys, I hope this was informative. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.